Part 29. The Wood-type superpower who is reborn in the apocalypse. Author, Kiji Now. Chapter 282. She always thought that her son was not good at expressing himself and even avoided her, but she was overthinking it. If you are bored, you can develop some hobbies. Don't you want to learn square dancing? Lei still had a smile on his face. When Lei's mother heard this, her old face turned red instantly. Who said I wanted to dance in the square? I didn't. She only told Ning Ning about this before the end of the world. How did her son know about it? Huh, Lei chuckled. Then prepare the teacher and the tape for me, Lei said immediately. It was already known anyway, so she didn't hide it anymore. What happened to a wealthy lady who wanted to learn square dancing? Square dancing is good for your body and good for your physical and mental health. Ning Ning encouraged her to learn it before. By the way, Ning Ning agreed to dance with her at that time. She had to take her. Okay. The arrangements will be in place tomorrow. Lei's eyes turned into one of doting. Although his mother is not young anymore, she still has the mentality of a child most of the time. Her father had protected her very well in the past, but now that her father was gone, this task fell to him. Fortunately, after all these years, he thinks he is still doing well. That's pretty much it. Lei glanced at Lei Ting. Okay, I don't need you here anymore. Go and do things with Ning Ning quickly. You are his eldest brother, remember to take good care of Ning Ning, Lei told Lei Ting. Yes. I obey, Lei replied with a smile. Then he got up and left Lei's house. After going out, Lei discovered that Len Ning had not left, but was waiting outside Lei's house. Brother, isn't mom angry? Seeing Lei Ting come out, Len Ning immediately came up to him. The corner of Lei's mouth raised slightly. Teach me a few words and tell me that I will kidnap you out. I'm sorry, brother, for making you take the blame for me. Len Ning looked a little embarrassed. The most important thing is that you two are happy. Lei looked at Len Ning and said. Len Ning was stunned and blushed again. Let's go, I also want to see how strong you are now. Lei finally looked away from Len Ning's face. Yeah, Len Ning said immediately. Then he took the lead. Talking to Lei along the way, the two of them soon arrived at the military headquarters. Everyone in the military department was shocked when they saw Lei arriving in person. Everyone tensed up, thinking something big had happened. Martial arts training ground. Not long after Len Ning and Lei arrived, the yellow monkey, black tiger, and blue snake all arrived. Huang Ho was followed by Feng Wen, Sun Qi, Zhou Tao, and Yuan Xing. Obviously, when Len Ning and Lei arrived, their group was at Huang Monkey's place. Look at this formation, our boss wants to compete with Mr. Lei. Zhou Tao looked at the two people on the training ground excitedly. As expected of their boss, he dares to think and act. Miss, she has really changed a lot compared to before, Huang Ho couldn't help but say. After Feng Wen returned to the military headquarters, he immediately brought Sun Qi, Zhou Tao, and Yuan Xing to find him. He had a lot on his plate and at first he didn't even think about meeting them. Feng Wen insisted on asking for a meeting. He then agreed to give Feng Wen 10 minutes. But the news Feng Wen told him surprised him. She said that the young lady has advanced from the peak of the 3rd level of the wood mutation system to the 4th level, and also helped Sun Qi, Zhou Tao, and Yuan Xing successfully advance to the 3rd level. He himself is a 3rd level superpower user, so he naturally knows how difficult it is to advance to the next level. Even someone like Red Fox, who had undergone strict training with them since childhood, almost failed when he advanced to the 3rd level. These three boys actually came up at once. Finished writing, good night. The Wood-type superpower who is reborn in the apocalypse. Author, Kiji Now. Chapter 283. He had some doubts about Feng Wen's words. But after testing, he found that the three people's abilities actually reached the 3rd level. Quickly arranging for the three of them to wait, he called Fen Wen into the office to talk alone. The first content of the conversation was naturally that he wanted to take these three people for his own use. The most important thing is Sun Qi. Because although he didn't want to miss Zhou Tao and Yuan Xing, they were members of the Manman team after all. It would be difficult for him to poach people from the young lady. The second thing is that he is very curious about the young lady's method of upgrading three people, and wants to learn it and use it for other people who are in urgent need of upgrading, such as Fen Wen. Of course, if it works, he himself needs it very much. Although he has already reached the third level, he is very looking forward to reaching the fourth level as soon as possible. Unfortunately, Fen Wen told him that not only Zhou Tao and Yuan Xing, but also Sun Qi had taken refuge in the young lady. When Fen Wen led a few people into the military headquarters, he had already expressed his intention to recruit them, but unfortunately none of them were interested. As for the young lady's method of upgrading the three people, Fen Wen said it was related to the young lady's wood-type spiritual pet. Fen Wen had also asked the young lady to help him reach the third level before, but the young lady's condition was that he needed someone. Yes, Fen Wen told him that the young lady has great ambitions, and some changes may occur in the Thunder base. Fen Wen brought those three people to him because he wanted him to come forward and talk to the lady. Let's see if we can exchange some other conditions to help him and other second-level peak abilities upgrade. Before he could make a decision, he heard someone outside reporting that the boss and the young lady had come to the military headquarters. Thinking something had happened, he hurried over to take a look. Fen Wen and others were also curious, so they all followed. After arriving, he saw that Black Tiger and Blue Snake were also there. From what people around her said, it turned out that the young lady had made an appointment with the boss and was preparing to have a fight here. Looking at the high-spirited young lady standing on the field, he believed it at this moment. The young lady had really changed completely. According to Fen Wen and the others, the young lady's wood mutation power has reached the fourth level, which is one level higher than the boss's thunder power. In this way, he really has the strength to fight against the boss. He was curious at this moment, whether the young lady would really defeat their boss. Haha, I have known the boss for so many years, but he has never seen him lose. Brother, I'm about to start. Len Ning pulled out Xiaoman and smiled at the expressionless Lei Ting opposite him. If she really beats her eldest brother today, then she will confess her love to him. Well, that's it. Ye Lei raised the corner of his mouth slightly, looking at Len Ning's expression that was a little more doting. Oops, could you please stop smiling at others like that? Len Ning's face turned red. Then he quickly calmed down and urged Xiaoman to attack. 6 vines were seen flying out from one end of Xiaoman, and sharp barbs quickly appeared in the air. At the same time, the tips of the vines turned into sharp arrow shapes, heading straight towards Thunder. The spectators around him were sweating for Thunder. If this vine pierces the body, it will be a bloody hole. The lady's hand is quite heavy. The yellow monkey narrowed his eyes. Now it is certain that the corpses whose heads were decapitated by blunt objects in the mobile building in the resort were indeed the work of the young lady. The weapon used is this wooden spiritual pet weapon called Xiaoman. Lei's expression did not change, he was still looking at Len Ning with a smile, and he just jumped slightly to avoid Xiaoman's attack. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The wood-type superpower who is reborn in the apocalypse. Author, Kiji Now. Chapter 284. Xiaoman jumped into the air, then quickly reversed direction and began to attack Thunder, who had reached a new position. It's a pity that even after trying 3 times in a row, I didn't encounter Thunder. Len Ning's eyes darkened. The eldest brother's strength is indeed extraordinary. It looks like we need to get serious. Thinking of this, Len Ning urged Xiaoman to grow 2 vines again. Xiaoman's 8 vines cooperate with each other, and the attack speed becomes faster. As soon as thunder settled down, vines would immediately come towards him. After 2 dodges, thunder's response quickly became stretched. By accident, his arm was scratched by a vine. Everyone was shocked. Young Master Lei/boss was actually injured. The vines that sucked Thunder's blood immediately became excited and began to attack Thunder more violently. Len Ning was naturally worried when she saw Lei Ting being injured, but now she wanted to force Lei Ting to use all her strength to fight against her. Especially Thunder's Thunder ability. So instead of slowing down the attack, they attacked the Thunder more aggressively. Facing the fierce and fast attacks of the vines, Lei finally used his thunder power to fight back. Thunder and lightning struck the vines, directly cutting off the ferocious vines attacking him. Unfortunately, the moment the vines were cut off, Xiaoman immediately sprouted new vines. And because he was injured by thunder, Xiaoman became even more violent, with an aura that threatened to tear Thunder into pieces. After using the thunder power, Lei was not afraid of Xiaoman at all. Once Xiaoman attacked, he was killed by Lei. Sometimes it even directly electrocutes its vines into charcoal. Xiaoman became more and more angry, and suddenly 8 vines merged into one, and a huge flower disc suddenly bloomed from the top. This familiar formula made Zhou Tao and the other 3 paled. While I was scared, I was also a little disgusted. Xiaoman's flower plate can spit juice, and the smell is really smelly and disgusting. The huge flower plate seemed to have eyes, heading straight towards Thunder. The Thunder is about to be swallowed up before my eyes. Boom! There was a loud noise, and with a piercing scream in Len Ning's mind, Xiaoman's huge flower plate was split into 2 halves and fell heavily to the ground. It hurts, Master, Len Ning seemed to hear a voice. At the same time, Lei was half kneeling opposite Len Ning, sweat dripping from his forehead, as if he had tried his best. Len Ning just wanted Xiaoman to come back, but he saw Xiaoman's flower disc that was split in half changed rapidly, and then directly formed 2 large flower discs with the same root. Then the 2 turnips attacked the Thunder again. Everyone present was stunned. The wood spiritual pet actually withstood Mr. Lei's full blow, and could even continue to attack. Lei's eyes darkened, and suddenly there were 2 electric blades formed by gathering thunder and lightning in his hand. He leaped into the air, roared "Ah!" and cut off one of Xiaoman's flower discs. There was another piercing scream in Len Ning's mind. Immediately afterwards, the flower disc grew again in the place where Xiaoman's flower disc had been cut off. The astonishing growth rate stunned the onlookers. This time, Xiaoman seemed to have turned into an irrational beast and began to spray venom towards Thunder. Yes, it was not the kind of saliva that was sprayed on Zhou Tao's face, but highly corrosive venom. Lei failed to dodge in time and was sprayed with venom on his arm. The wood-type superpower who is reborn in the apocalypse. Author, Kiji Now. Chapter 285. Almost immediately, a piece of flesh was corroded away from the place where Thunder was touched by the venom. Xiaoman didn't stop at all. One of the flower discs sprayed venom at Thunder, and the other flower disc rushed towards Thunder, madly vowing to swallow Thunder into the flower disc and chew it to pieces. Len Ning frowned as he saw more and more places on Lei's body being sprayed with venom, and his pace becoming slower and more unsteady. "Brother, give up," Len Ning said solemnly. At the same time, all 3 people in the 4-color group looked at Lei nervously. "Boss, is he really going to lose?" Continue. Lei's eyes were cold and he said to Len Ning in a deep voice. Before Len Ning had time to react, Xiaoman had already attacked Thunder again. Lei avoided it again and struck back at Xiaoman, once again cutting off Xiaoman's venom-spraying faceplate in one fell swoop. There was another piercing scream in Len Ning's mind. Then Xiaoman's 2 vines merged into one again, condensing into the largest flower disc. I saw it was like the head of a king cobra, held high, looking down at the tiny Thunder standing on the ground. Then Xiaoman opened his flower plate and rushed towards Lei desperately. Lei Lei tried to dodge, but failed to avoid Huapan's attack range. Everyone looked horrified. Len Ning narrowed his eyes. All that could be seen at the scene was the huge flower disc swaying triumphantly in the air, while Lei Lei's figure was no longer on the ground. Everyone held their breath for 10 seconds. Len Ning felt as if he had been struck by lightning. He stood there as if his soul had left his body. Big brother, he. Suddenly there was a boom, and the flower plate that was swinging proudly in the air exploded in an instant. Sap and plant parts flew everywhere. A black figure suddenly jumped up from the flower plate and landed smoothly opposite Len Ning. Len Ning was shocked. Master Lei. Master Lei is not dead. I don't know who shouted first in the crowd. The scene was filled with cheers for a moment. The flower disc burst, and Xiaoman's branches fell heavily to the ground again. After struggling twice, he couldn't get up, so he couldn't move. This competition has already decided the winner. Ignoring Xiaoman, Len Ning hurriedly ran towards Lei Ting. She was about to rush up and hug Lei Lei, but Lei Lei stretched out a hand and stopped her from getting closer. Brother, are you okay? Len Ning calmed down and asked Lei Ting hurriedly. The eldest brother has a lot of injuries on his body, and Xiaoman's poison is so powerful. It's okay. With its help, I reached the 4th level. Lei Lei raised the corner of his mouth slightly. After reaching the 4th level, his physical fitness became better, and the influence of Xiaoman's venom on him became smaller. This time it was a narrow victory, if he hadn't forced himself to use Xiaoman to advance to the 4th level. Today he was afraid that even if he could survive, he would be miserable in the end. But even though he won the battle, he looked quite embarrassed now. Boss, congratulations, boss, for reaching the 4th level. 3 people from the 4-color group came forward. Let everyone withdraw, Lei Lei said in a deep voice. Yes, Blue Snake said immediately. Then he winked at a few people not far away. Those people immediately dispersed the crowd and left with them. Xiaoning, thank you. Seeing Len Ning's self-reproaching look, Lei Lei said to Len Ning with a smile. Len Ning was stunned, and a wry smile appeared on his face. Brother, I'm sorry for what happened today. Then he said to Lei Ting. She knew that Xiaoman was very dangerous, but because of her own selfishness, she insisted on inviting her eldest brother to come here to fight with her. Fortunately, nothing happened to her eldest brother in the end, otherwise she would have died forever. No need to be sorry, it's me who should be grateful to you. Lei Lei still smiled warmly. Thank you SpecialAbilities for the flowers. Thank you very much. I'll update 6 chapters today, and the remaining 3 chapters will be posted tonight. The Wood-type superpower who is reborn in the apocalypse. Author, Kiji Now. Chapter 286. Xiaoman is indeed a very good weapon that can help people advance, Lei Lei continued. As soon as these words came out, everyone present was stunned. The 4 hall masters were very well informed. In addition to Yellow Monkey, Blue Snake, and Black Tiger naturally also heard about Len Ning helping 3 second-level peak power users advance to 3rd level. If they had some doubts before, now that Thunder said this, they no longer had any doubts. The young lady's wood spiritual pet is not only effective against 2nd-level peak power users, but also works against 3rd-level peak power users like the boss. What does that mean? 3 of their 4 hall masters are now 3rd-level superpowers, and Blue Snake is also at the 2nd-level peak, so he needs this opportunity even more. Len Ning smiled softly. Actually, it's not Xiaoman who helped advance to the next level. In moments of crisis when people are highly concentrated, it is easier to break through the bottleneck of supernatural powers. Len Ning continued, Xiaoman just happened to play the role of scaring people, forcing you into a desperate situation. Everyone's expression softened slightly. It's more than that, Lei Ting suddenly said. Len Ning was stunned. Its juice is very special and is very irritating to people with superpowers, Lei Lei said solemnly. The same goes for the venom. In addition to paralyzing the human body, It can also stimulate the potential of the superpower's bodies he was affected by it. The stimulation of juice and venom, coupled with his own forced sprint, was the only way to break through the third-level bottleneck limit. For a moment, the three people in the four-color group looked at Len Ning with burning eyes. This is a huge treasure. Miss, please help. Len Ning. Len Ning then remembered that Xiaoman was injured by the thunder and was now lying on the ground unable to move. Hurrying, Len Ning walked to Xiaoman's huge, limp body. Then he put his hand on Xiaoman's body. Something magical happened. Xiaoman's huge torso began to shrink rapidly, and finally turned into a short purple-black vine. Seeing Xiaoman's miserable appearance, Len Ning felt a little complicated. Then he picked up Xiaoman and wrapped it around his arm. Then he took out a bag of crystal nuclei from the space ring and prepared to feed Xiaoman. Based on past experience, no matter how badly injured Xiaoman is, as long as he is given a crystal core, he will soon be alive and well. Sure enough, as soon as the crystal core appeared, Xiaoman immediately cheered up. A small flower plate grew out of the top of the vine. I leaned over the flower plate and put it directly into the palm of Len Ning's hand to eat. Seeing that Xiaoman no longer used vines to take the crystal cores and send flower trays like before, Len Ning felt a little distressed for a moment. It looked like the injury was so severe this time that even a small branch couldn't come out. Hey, it also blames itself for insisting on having a hard fight with its elder brother. Fortunately, at the end of the day, everyone was fine. Otherwise, forget it. When things are over here, she has to take the time to teach Xiaoman a lesson. Xiaoman, who grew a huge flower disc, was so aggressive that he even wanted to break free from his control. This was not a good sign. Everyone was shocked when they saw Xiaoman's appearance. The one who had a huge fight with their boss just now was something that looked like a dead branch. Xiaoman ate the crystal cores one by one without stopping at all. After the crystal cores in his hand were eaten, Len Ning quickly took out another handful of crystal cores and asked Xiaoman to continue eating. Finally, after eating 30 crystal cores, Xiaoman finally felt more energetic. The body also changed from purple-black to green again. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The wood-type superpower who is reborn in the apocalypse. Author, Kiji Now. Chapter 287. Feeling that the edge of his flower plate had become harder and rougher, Xiaoman quickly pulled out the tiny vine. He started to eat the crystal core from Len Ning's hand to avoid accidentally hurting Len Ning. Everyone was stunned. Is this, really a plant? After feeding Xiaoman for a while, Len Ning stopped feeding Xiaoman until all 100 crystal nuclei in the bag were consumed. Xiaoman was wrapped around Len Ning's arm pitifully, and finally became motionless. Len Ning touched Xiaoman's tiny body lovingly, and then let him return to his own sea of consciousness space. Xiaoman, where did he go? Huang Ho couldn't help but ask Len Ning. I'm back to my consciousness sea space, Len Ning said calmly. Consciousness sea space? Seeing Len Ning's expression of not wanting to answer, Huang Ho touched his head and did not continue to ask. It should be the same as what he thought. This world has long been magical, and it's not impossible for the young lady to understand it if she has the sea of consciousness. Miss, can you also help me get to the third level? Blue Snake took the lead in making a request to Len Ning. He is currently the weakest among the four-color group, and cannot even compare to the female red fox. This really makes him feel ashamed. In the past 2 days, he had thought of many ways to improve his abilities as soon as possible, but after researching for a while, he could not figure out the reason. Now that he finally found out the shortcut to level up, he naturally refused to let it go. Miss, I also have 5 brothers who are at the 2nd level of the peak. Look, Black Tiger followed and came closer. Level 3 and Level 2 are not at the same level at all. If all 5 of his 5 peak Level 2 superpowers could reach Level 3, he would not know how much easier it would be to arrange tasks in the future. I have one here too. Huang Ho saw this and hurriedly followed. Lei Lei frowned. Do they think they don't exist? Is it so easy to hire his sister? Everyone felt a coercion coming over them, and they all immediately shut up. Turning his head to look in Lei Ting's direction, he found that Lei Ting's face had turned dark. Starting from today, Xiao Ning will also join the military department and become the leader of the 5th branch, and he will be on an equal footing with you, Lei Lei said directly. Everyone looked stunned. Yes, then he quickly saluted Thunder. The young lady's current strength is obvious to all, and they are convinced of the boss's decision. Brother, Len Ning felt a little embarrassed on his face. What? Still unwilling, Lei Ting raised the corner of his mouth slightly. All the pressure on his body disappeared instantly. The 3 people in the 4-color group felt relaxed all of a sudden. Looking at their boss, looking at their lady's gentle and watery look, they felt a little chilly in their hearts. I haven't made any arrangements for the vegetable base yet, Len Ning said, a little embarrassed. She was naturally willing to be the hall leader, but she never thought about it so soon. Then wait until you are willing. Then tell me directly, Lei Lei said dotingly. Len Ning's cheeks turned red. Well, thank you, brother. The corners of Lei Lei's mouth raised slightly, and he was in a very good mood at the moment. Boss Huang Hao still wanted to fight for it? The young lady's cuteness is so useful, it would be a waste if not used. Lei Lei looked over, and Huang Hao shut his mouth and lowered his head in resignation. The boss is so two-faced and treats them very differently from the young lady. Ahem, it's not impossible if you want my help, Len Ning said to the 4-color group. The 3 people immediately looked at Len Ning excitedly. The wood-type superpower who is reborn in the apocalypse. Author, Kiji Now. Chapter 288. Since you're asking me for help, it's not for nothing, Len Ning emphasized the word help. The 3 of them looked at each other, knowing that their lady was going to make some conditions now. However, they are completely able to accept this, and even fully agree with this method, as long as the young lady's conditions are not particularly excessive. After all, the young lady will soon become their colleagues. Although everyone works together for the boss and the Thunder base, each has its own division of power and interests. It is a good thing to set conditions directly and clearly mark the price in this way, so that they can avoid defaulting on the favor. You must know that sometimes it is really difficult to repay a favor debt, especially a favor debt owed to someone like a young lady. After all, with the boss here, the young lady will definitely not be the one who suffers. Miss, tell me, Blue Snake took the lead. There are 3 requirements. Len Ning raised the corners of his mouth. First, using Xiaoman to advance is very dangerous. Anyone who participates must do so voluntarily and is not responsible for life or death. The 3 nodded. The scene where their boss was promoted to the 4th level just now was indeed terrifying enough. As the saying goes, wealth, life and death are determined once. There are many benefits to going to the 3rd level, and most people are still willing to try it. Second, each person is charged 200 second-order crystal cores or crystal cores of equal value, Len Ning continued. What? 200 pieces? Second-order crystal nucleus? The 3 members of the 4-color group were stunned. Why didn't she grab it? Second-order crystal nucleus? 200 more? Are crystal nuclei really that easy to get? When level 2 zombies are running all over the streets. This is the registration fee. It has to be paid regardless of whether the person reaches the 3rd level or not. Len Ning seemed not to see the expressions of the 3 people and continued on his own. Seeing that the 3 of them were silent, Len Ning curled his lips and continued, of course, you don't need to pay all of these crystal cores immediately. When you sign up, you only need to pay 10%, which is 20 second-order crystal cores. The remaining 90% can be settled within the next 2 months. If the time exceeds 2 months, default interest will be calculated, and it will double in 1 additional month. 4 color groups. Also, I have a lot of things to do. I only accept to help 2 second level peak power users every day. Participants need to register in advance. I only operate in the order on the registration form and do not accept queue jumping. 4 color groups. Me, I'm the first. Blue snake suddenly stood up. Black tiger and yellow monkey. This traitor, didn't they have a tacit agreement to unite and force the young lady to lower her conditions? I also signed up for 5 additional places, Blue snake continued. There are only 2 places in one day. The sooner you seize the time, the sooner you can reach the 3rd level. Although there are few 2nd level zombies, they are not completely absent. In 2 months, as long as the strength has improved, are you still worried about not being able to get 200 second order crystal cores? Even if you can't get it, wouldn't it be enough to exchange it for something of equal value? If a 3rd level supernatural powerhouse goes on missions every day, the materials he obtains will definitely be enough to repay this debt. I also sign up for 5 places. Huang Ho hurriedly stood up. Damn it, this treacherous blue snake actually took away 6 places. According to the lady, 6 people would last for 3 days. No matter what, it took 3 days to wait for his people to line up. In 3 days, his blue snake team may have 5 more 3rd level superpowers. If the arrangements are made properly, there is no telling how many opportunities will be taken away. Yu-He was so angry that he almost blew his beard and stared. These 2 people are so heartless. Failed to advance, still updating 6 times a day. Woohoo! The wood-type superpower who is reborn in the apocalypse. Author, Kiji Now. Chapter 289. Len Ning looked at Haihu. The black tiger was stunned instantly. I also sign up for 5 places, then he said quickly. Well, just come to me directly to register in the future. But you have to remember to bring the crystal core with you, Len Ning said with a smile. When she becomes the hall master, she will have to support many people. If she doesn't let people like them do anything, what will her men eat and use when the time comes? I have it here, you can start now, Blue Snake said, taking out a large bag of crystal nuclei directly from his space ring. Len Ning was stunned. Taking the bag and opening it. Sure enough, they are 2nd order crystal nuclei, and there are quite a few of them. There are 120 coins here, which will be used as the registration fee for me and the next 5 people, Blue Snake said with a smile. Len Ning curled his lips and put the crystal core into his space ring. Treat everyone equally. The order of registration is based on the time when the crystal core is handed over to me, verbal words do not count, he then said. The expressions of the yellow monkey and the black tiger changed, and they hurriedly began to dig out the crystal cores. I have 88 crystal nuclei here, and I will send the remaining 12 in a moment. This time, the black tiger beat the yellow monkey and came to Len Ning. There are 90 coins here. Miss, please let me stand in front, Huang Ho squeezed in. Do you still have the consciousness of first come, first served? Black tiger looked angry. Who doesn't realize it? I signed up with the lady first just now. Huang Ho did not give in. The lady just said it, based on the time she receives the crystal core, your verbal registration does not count. Haihu also fought hard to the end. Thunder. Okay, Len Ning said in a deep voice, interrupting the quarrel between the two. The 2 of them immediately looked at Len Ning, waiting for her to make a decision. Brother Hu will line up with 4 people, followed by Brother Huang with 4 people. I will accept 80 second order crystal cores from each of you. For the remaining places, whoever brings me the registration fee first will be assigned first. After listening to Len Ning's words, the yellow monkey and the black tiger glared at each other, and then immediately prepared to run away to collect the crystal core. Don't worry, I have a third condition. Len Ning hurriedly stopped the two of them. The three of them looked startled. Are there any conditions? Condition 3. All superpowers who successfully advance must follow my people on 3 missions for free. All proceeds from the missions will belong to my people, Len Ning continued. The four-color group looked at each other and said, okay, they agreed. Isn't it just 3 missions? This is nothing. Len Ning raised a sly smile, but it disappeared within a moment. Lei Lei saw the scene and laughed a little in his heart. Fortunately, they boast that their strength and intelligence are many times higher than ordinary people, but they have been plotted by Xiao Ning without even knowing it. Each third-level superpower user has 3 missions for free. The total number of third-level superpower users among the 3 of them, including Blue Snake, already total 16. Plus Xiao Ning's own 3 men. There are a total of 17 level 3 superpowers. With so many superpowers dispatched together, no matter what tasks they are doing outside, there will be no problem. His sister is really capable of planning. I'm the first one. Miss, why don't you help me advance to the next level now? Blue Snake said impatiently. Len Ning smiled at Lan Shi. Brother Lan, don't be impatient. We'll talk about promotion tomorrow. Seeing the disappointment on Blue Snake's face, Len Ning continued, Xiao Man is injured, and I want it to rest. Blue Snake was stunned. Yes, I actually forgot about this. We have to let Xiaoman have a good rest. No rush, Blue Snake said embarrassedly. Hey, he really wants to go to the 3rd level. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. Please subscribe to receive new novels. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. The Wood-type superpower who is reborn in the apocalypse. Author, Kiji Now. Chapter 290. I remembered something else, so I'll take my leave first. Huang Ho turned his eyes and left immediately. Me too, Black Tiger hurriedly followed. After the 2 figures disappeared, Blue Snake took out a bag of crystal nuclei from his space ring. I'll reserve 2 more places. When someone meets the conditions next time, I'll queue them up immediately, Blue Snake said to Len Ning with a smile. Len Ning. Thunder raised a smile. Among his subordinates, Blue Snake is the most naughty after all. Those 2 are totally incomparable. Okay. I'll put you behind Brother Huang. Seeing the crystal core delivered to his door, Len Ning had no reason to refuse it. He quickly took it and put it in his space ring. Ahem, at this time, Lei Lei suddenly coughed twice. Len Ning quickly looked at Lei Ting. Seeing his eldest brother's embarrassed but still good-looking appearance, Len Ning sighed in his heart at how perfect his eldest brother was. Brother Lan, let me take the eldest brother back to Lei's house first. The promotion will be arranged at 5 o'clock tomorrow afternoon, and the location will be arranged here. Then we will finish the work before 6:30, so we can go back to have dinner, Len Ning said and stepped forward. He held Thunder's arm. Lei Lei was stunned and did not refuse. Blue Snake glanced at Thunder, secretly despising him. The boss has been promoted, what can happen to his health? Do you want someone to help you back? When did the boss become so shameful? Lei Lei saw Blue Snake's thoughts and gave him a warning look. Blue Snake shrank and hurriedly left. After the Blue Snake left, Len Ning looked at Lei Ting. Little money fan, Lei Lei said with a smile. Len Ning's cheeks turned red. What's wrong with the little money man? I relied on my own ability. Then he supported Lei Lei and walked outside listening to his chuckle. By the way, brother, does Xiaoman's juice really have such a magical effect? Len Ning asked while helping Lei Ting out. Of course. The venom is the most effective, and the juice is less effective. However, the venom has serious side effects, Lei Lei said. What side effects? Len Ning suddenly became nervous. The eldest brother was sprayed with a lot of venom by Xiaoman. Corrosive and causing paralysis and dizziness when fighting Xiaoman, his movements became slower and slower, which was the result of being paralyzed by Xiaoman's venom. Fortunately, he has a high level of superpower and can barely keep his mind steady, otherwise he would be really afraid of being swallowed by it. Len Ning's heart tightened. It's my fault that I didn't control Xiaoman well. I almost Len Ning didn't continue. I don't blame you. I had to provoke and stimulate it, Lei Lei said with a smile. Without it, I don't know how long I would have to wait to reach the 4th level. After hearing this, Len Ning finally felt better. You can still laugh. Let's take you back and take a shower quickly, otherwise you will really die of smoke, Len Ning said angrily. Thunder. At first he didn't feel anything was wrong, but now after hearing what Len Ning said, he really felt uncomfortable all over. He stopped procrastinating and picked up the pace on his own. Returned to Lei's house. Len Ning volunteered to check where Lei's mother was, and then secretly took Lei Ting to avoid Lei's mother's sight. The brother and sister returned to Lei's room smoothly. Lei Ting went to take a shower, while Len Ning visited Lei Ting's room in the outer hall. This is the 3rd time she has been to her eldest brother's room since she came back. The first 2 times she was too nervous, but today she is finally feeling much better. Len Ning ran his fingers over the various furniture in Lei Ting's room, and Len Ning came to Lei Ting's bookshelf. There were many thick books on the shelves, usually original English works, but she was not interested in them. The Wood-type superpower who is reborn in the apocalypse. Author, Kiji Now. Chapter 291. Suddenly, Len Ning saw a photo album. Feeling a little curious, Len Ning took it off and started looking through it. It turned out to be. Len Ning was a little surprised. Because it's not someone else's photos, it's all photos of myself. There are pictures of her crying and laughing, pictures of her in Huagi Middle School, Junior High School, Elementary School, and even, there are also pictures of her childhood when she had no memory, and even her infancy. Seeing a photo of her wearing crotchless pants, Len Ning's face instantly turned red. This photo album is placed on the bookshelf at a position that just matches the eldest brother's height. There is no dust on it. You can tell at a glance that he occasionally takes it out and looks through it. Big brother, you really take care of her specially. Just then, the bathroom door opened. Lei Lei came out wearing a bathrobe and wiping his hair. Seeing Len Ning holding his photo album in his hand, the expression on his face suddenly froze on the spot. A rare thing in my heart was the feeling of being caught by someone's hair. Brother, where did these photos come from? Give them to me. Len Ning was also a little embarrassed when Lei Ting caught her peeking at his things. But she immediately smiled and asked, shaking off the awkward feeling. Anyway, she is the one in the photo, so it would be best for my eldest brother to give her this photo album. Lei Lei looked at the photo album in Len Ning's hand and wanted to refuse Len Ning's request. This is his most precious collection, and many of the photos on it cost him a lot of effort. In the past, he was busy with his career and never went home. When he stayed at Lei's house, he would occasionally take it out to look at it. Seeing Xiao Ning above, his heart felt warm. This was the deepest secret he had hidden in his heart for many years, but now Xiao Ning discovered it. Brother, when Lei Lei didn't reply, Len Ning called him. Well, Lei Lei came to his senses, but still did not agree to Len Ning. Len Ning raised the photo album in his hand again, thinking that Lei Lei had just been distracted and didn't hear his words clearly. I still feel a little uncomfortable on my back, please come and help me take a look, Lei Lei suddenly said. Where? Len Ning suddenly became nervous, put down the photo album and ran towards Lei Lei. On the sofa. Lei Lei opened his upper body bathrobe and let Len Ning check his wounds. Feeling his heart beating wildly, Len Ning's little hand caressed his back. Lei Ting hated himself for making trouble for himself. Although the scars are all there, it still looks serious. I'd better call Xiaobao to treat you, Len Ning frowned. Then stood up. The thunder didn't stop. Not that he really thought he was seriously hurt. If it was for this reason, when Xiao Ning took him back to his room, he wouldn't have stopped her from calling Xiao Bao. But right now, his body is reacting abnormally, and something is wrong with him. It would be a good thing to let Xiao Ning leave and calm down by himself. Brother, please wait for me for a while. I'll call Xiao Bao now. Len Ning looked at the half-red fruit in front of Lei Lei and said. His face felt a little hot, but Len Ning was reluctant to look away. Hey, now she finally knows that the idiom beautiful and delicious is not groundless. Yeah, Lei Lei hummed without turning around at all. He was afraid that if he turned around, his emotions would be exposed. Then, let me go. Len Ning glanced at Lei Lei and walked backwards towards the door. I hope Thunder can look back at me. Unfortunately, her expectations were doomed to fail. After exiting the room, Len Ning had no choice but to turn around and walk towards the door. After realizing that Len Ning was gone, Lei Lei breathed a sigh of relief.